Tea is also available for 10. And there's a zombie story in here, because I heard that zombies are popular, so I'm going to make millions of dollars. But this is a story about zombies and retail, and I'm just going to read a few parts of it. As soon as I find the first page. Graveyard shift. They spoke, they moved, they ate and drank as in life. They heard and saw and felt with the similitude of the senses that had been theirs before death. They recalled but dimly their former existence, and the state to which they had been summoned was empty and troublous and shadow-like. Clark Ashton Smith, The Empire of the Necromancers. Night 1. 10 p.m. on Saturday, and I was sitting in my blue 92 Toyota Corolla in the parking lot of the 24-hour Mason Superstore. Listening to an alt-rock radio station, I savored every moment before I had to walk through the sliding doors. I belted out Pearl Jam like I was in a gospel choir. I watched the day shift leave. Stalkers, dentists, optometrists, pharmacists. Sighing, I turned off my radio, slipped on my blue vest, and pinned on my button that said, "Hello, my name is Enrique. How may I brighten your day?" The doors opened when I approached, hitting me with a blast of cold air. I walked under the wall-length picture of Sam Mason running the cash register of his first corner drugstore in the 1950s. His quote under it read, "The center of every community is family-friendly commerce." I blinked at the bright fluorescent lights, adjusting my eyes. No matter what time of day, it was always high noon at Mason's. The store was filled with chatter, the beep of the cash registers, pop music on the overhead, rattling shopping carts, and it was full of people, as ever. It took half an hour to reach the center of the store, where we held evening meetings. Mason's was simply that big. Lemon yellow signs the size of billboards said entertainment, cosmetics, home improvement. The department speared off from the central aisle like bones from a fish's spine. An electric cart drove by, my fellow blue-vested associates crowded on the seats. I stuck out my thumb. They waved me over and I sat on the back. I watched as the aisles went by. Aisle B4, handheld electronics, calculators, compasses, radio controls. C4, guava facial cream, mango body wash, lemon-scented towels. C5, body, vibrating foot massage stools, paint-on hair dye, aerodynamic corsets. An associate in toys was busy picking up the action figure packages that littered the floor. I heard the growls, howls, and roars from pets. Families ate pasta and burgers in the Mason's family restaurant. Kids tussled in a pool-sized ball pit. TVs descended from the ceiling like bulbous spiders, the latest discounts bouncing across their screens. Hannah Montana beer cozies, $9.99. Futon, $199.99. Men's hair pieces, $21.99. Scratch, $18.99. We crossed home decorating with its life-size portraits of life-size models of back porches and bedrooms. Study so cozy looking, I wanted to sit in an armchair and crack open the styrofoam book. The noise began as something like a screech. There was a vaguely human note to the cry of massive hinges turning, pain and surprise combined. Then it became a howl, like some forsaken ghost, rising until it assaulted the ears. Then a crash that shuddered your bones and made you feel like you'd been split right down the middle. The careerist vault was opening. I'd seen the great vault open once or twice. For all its size, it swung out light and easy as a screen door. Associates and shoppers stopped. The guy driving the cart slowed down. You could tell the first-time customers. They dove for cover, thinking noise that big had to be an earthquake or a bomb going off. Truth was, the shudder we all felt was in our minds, a reaction to that disaster of a sound. The noise lasted a long time. There was something sad about it. The center of the store was taken up by a semicircular information desk that could have filled an amphitheater. Hundreds of stockers, sellers, cashiers, inventory prep team, and custodians gathered for evening meetings. I joined the home improvement guys near the front of the crowd. Clark clapped my shoulder, followed by a heartier clap from my supervisor, Red. The monolithic old-timer stood a foot taller than me, his lifting belt bristling with so many sharp tools that he resembled some classic illustration of Blackbeard. The night manager, Dan, a pear-shaped white man, stood at the desk with assistant manager Karen, a professionally dressed black woman in her early 30s. I saw a lump under Dan's left cuff, his watch. With that unstoppable, swift demon, he kept track, down to the second, of how long an associate took on any task. I wanted to assassinate the watch. It had two smaller clocks within its face, and in its synchronized rotation showed more intelligence than the man who wore it. Dan wore a look of perpetual bemusement, like he was allergic to lower-ranked associates, and was busy thinking of which pesticide could best get rid of us. The sudden smell of baby powder made me sneeze. Like the sound of the vault, I had never grown entirely used to it. On the edge of our circle, careerists carried teetering stacks of boxes, their feet shuffling quietly on the tiles. From the middle of the crowd, I could hear Karen conversing with two late-arriving associates. Her voice sounded like she kept a clothespin on her nose, and was a strong candidate for second loudest sound in the store. The associates merged into the crowd, visibly chastened. Karen raised a megaphone to her lips. "Good evening, everybody," she said, like a Viking would say, "Victory!" over a slain Saxon. We had a rockin' day yesterday. 110% of failed plans. $951,687. Go us! We rock! Let's make this coming week rock too. Because we've had all these rockin' weeks. Corporate is raising our plan to $980,000. It's a bit steep, but we can do it. Remember to upsell. Is everybody ready? I don't think I could stand another night at Kelly Clarkson on the overhead, Clark yelled out. There was laughter. Hey, said Karen. Kelly Clarkson is rockin'. First season of American Idol? Definitely the best. Remember, Easter is coming up. Think about those Easter baskets for your family and friends. Dan took the megaphone. Inventory's coming up too, he said, as if we needed reminding. Only 3 weeks to get all the merchandise on the floor for the inventory crew to take stock. Just thinking about it exhausted me. Remember, Karen said, whichever store in the district gets the best inventory store, every employee gets a $25 Mason's gift card. So go forth. I know we can do it. Can I get a 1, 2, 3 Mason? Great. Okay. 1, 2, 3.
Masons!
A gunshot rang out from nearby. Everybody scattered. We were trained to protect this store like we would our own family. See somebody look suspicious? Get the manager. If he runs with merch, you tackle him. Security is everybody's responsibility, our instructional vids told us. Early action can stop a dangerous situation before it turns tragic. But I was the only one who ran to the scene. A second shot. Sounded like a rifle coming from weapons. Customers hid behind plasma TVs or grabbed their children to huddle under clothing racks. The shots kept coming, punctuated by the sales announcement on the overhead. Attention Mason shoppers. Now is the Easter season. Bang. All candy is $4.99 or lower. Buy one, get the second half price on, bang, purified air. For all you patriots, we're running discounts on, bang, the troop magnets and pins. And don't forget to reserve your new copy of the Kelly Clarkson CD. I ran to aisle L5, picture frames, then took a shortcut through the dusty crevice between shelves. Not the cleanest method, but quick. Covered in cobwebs, I emerged in N1, weapons. On either side of me were glass cases filled with guns. An associate came down the aisle at breakneck speed, eyes fixed in terror. He would have barreled through me if I didn't grab him around the waist. He screamed and waved his arms like a clearance sale inflatable. Only when I grabbed his chin and turned his face to mine did he realize I was there. "Dead!" he wheezed, sounding like he'd lost a lung during his run. "Dead!" I let him go, and he took off as fast as he'd come, still accelerating. I crept past model prison cells and rows of plastic cuffs, mannequins and riot police gear. Behind the glass were Glocks and bazookas, assault rifles stacked like matches in a matchbook. I felt like a well winch was turning in my stomach. Up ahead, the aisle opened into N5, hunting. A circular area with racks of camouflage everything. Deer heads mounted the highest shelves. I could hear the air vents roaring. I had my shoulder to the shelf, the hard metal pressing into my skin. There came a sound of shuffling footsteps, almost comical. Schlep, schlep. They stopped and I froze, waited. Bang. Something thudded on the floor. Putting my back to the shelf, I peered around. He was turned away from me. The shooter was, indeed, dead. This careerist was embalmed like the other, his skin colored pink as a newborn mouse. He wore a blue associate's vest. Like a tottering, painted doll, he moved one stiff leg forward, then dragged the other, stepping over the remains of stuffed mallards. Smoke billowed from a hole in the wall. Rifle on his shoulder, he aimed for the shooting target, $18.99, on the shelf. He blasted a camo-colored tint off the top. A chill went up my spine. Weapons had enough gunpowder to, if not blow up the section, even the whole store. I caught a glimpse of his face. It was George. George was the only careerist I had known as a living person. We worked together in produce when I started at Mason's. George liked hunting. George wanted his weekends off, but never got them. George complained that we never had steak at the post-inventory parties. George got trampled to death by a crowd of shoppers last Black Friday. Maybe it was the fact that I'd known him that made me step into the open, to talk to him. I'm not religious, but regardless, I made the sign of the cross. "George," I said. "George, George, it's Henry. It's Henry, me, Henry." His head twitched in my direction like a mantis sensing prey. His eyelids were glued shut. He looked asleep. They all looked asleep. Blind, they moved entirely on some weird instinct. Since he died, George's wrinkles had smoothed and he'd grown a full beard. Strings of gray hair descended from his bald pate. His eyes, mouth, and nose were stretched horizontally, like there wasn't enough flesh to cover the skull. Right above the collar, I saw the stitch, like on a baseball, where they injected the embalming fluid. "Are you okay?" I asked him. "Do you need help?" Might as well have asked the beer cozy if it needed help. His look of eternal peace never changed as he leveled the rifle at me. At 25, I'd had time to think about how and when I would go. The part about your life flashing before your eyes always seemed appealing, or as appealing as violent death could be. A quick rewind before the end. A last-minute greatest hits compilation. When George fired, I didn't get any of that. I remember hearing the blast and falling. I figured I was dead, my brain shredded by the bullet, and I was drifting into the white peace before nothingness. There I was, face down on the cold white tile, gulping air, every nerve tingling. I climbed to my feet, checked for wounds. He missed. George kept his rifle aimed at me, pulling the trigger. It clicked emptily.